What is up, YouTube? And today we're going to be talking about the Powder of Knowledge shop for January, and basically in this rotation, what you guys want to be purchasing with your precious Powder of Knowledge, which you get from disenchanting or selling your artifacts that, of course, you summon. Now, of course, these artifacts at the top here with this summon icon will be rotating based off the banner. So currently we have Biblis and Blooming Whitaker running, so you'll see that their artifacts are here respectively, both limited. You can also notice that these are 240 compared to the ones below at 180 because they are banner artifacts, which will always be 60 powder more expensive. So starting off, let's just look at the list here. So we have two of these limiteds, which we'll still talk about. We have Double-Edged Crescent, Rod of Amaryllis, Bloody Rose, and Sphere of Inferno for the 5 stars. And then we have Dust Devil, Water Origin, El's Fist, and Aureus. So we actually do have some pretty good artifacts that you guys are going to want to summon for, which we'll talk about. Starting off with the current banner ones, I think Old Gardening Shears is pretty good for Biblis, but not required. You can use a ton of different danger artifacts on her and it'll still be fine. Seductive Flower, however, if you do summon for Blooming Whitaker and on the way to summoning her, you do not get one of these artifacts, this is pretty much a must-have because this will allow her to be a good opener or bridge unit, as people like to call her, where she goes second after your primary opener. And that's because you'll see the secondary effect of this. After an extra attack, you'll decrease combat readiness of the target. This will work on AoE, so just having this at 1 copy plus 15, you can AoE push back the enemy by 15% after you activate your S2, which is very, very important to actually allow her to take a turn. Without this artifact, she's pretty much unplayable, so if you do like to play her or do plan to play her, you definitely want this artifact. And of course, we have the Bottle of Knowledge. This one you definitely want to buy. This is pretty much a must buy on every single rotation. You don't have to buy it at the start of the month in case something comes that you really, really want, but by the end of the month, you definitely want to try to buy this. If you guys don't have enough powder, it is okay to skip out on it, but usually you do want to make sure you save enough Powder of Knowledge to buy this because this can work on limited artifacts as well. Of course, the charm's not really ever worth it. Now let's break into the 5-star artifacts. So, Double-Edged Crescent. This is probably one of the best, if not the best, evasion artifacts in the game, and that's because usually evasion units are going to be on lifesteal set because that's just how evasion works, right? After you evade, you kind of want a chance to counter, or not chance to counter, but you want to actually lifesteal your health back up. You can kind of think of evasion as like natural damage reduction for the most part, unless you actually get hit, which is pretty much a death sentence for a lot of the evasion characters. But having a chance to counterattack after you evade allows you to not only evade the damage, but you can actually counter. And if you have lifesteal set, you can sustain yourself back up, and which it's really, really good, right? So this is probably one of the best evasion artifacts in the game. If you like to use the newly released New Kid Aiden, it's very good on her. It's good on Remnant Violet and like a lot of other ones. But there's some where you don't really need it. For example, Green Violet doesn't really need it as much because he has built-in counterattack. And yeah, just a very good artifact if you like to use like Fire Kayron as well. It's very, very good. Next up, we have Rod of Amaryllis. I think this is the best artifact in this list because it is so, so good. In PvE especially, this is insanely, insanely powerful. If you are new to the game, you can slap this on any Soul Weaver and it'll increase their healing immensely. And it's very, very good if your team is just generally slow because you lack gear, because this will just boost your healing by a lot. Very good on like Angelic Montmorency if you're new to the game, who is a very good cleanser and very good dispeller with immunity for your team as well. But sometimes in the early game, she isn't fast enough to cycle quickly to heal your team. So because of that, this is very good. I think this is a must-have on any account. Even at plus 15, just 1 copy, it's going to be very, very good. That's pretty much all you need. Next, we have Bloody Rose. Not really good on anyone. Mostly used on like Zeo openers, which is the ML 5-star. So I think this is an easy skip. Even then, you don't even have to use this on him. This isn't really best in slot for a lot of characters. Sphere of Inferno. This is going to be pretty good on Bihu, who's not really that great currently, so also an easy skip. And of course, the 4-star artifacts. So long story short, 4-star artifacts aren't really worth going for because you'll get a ton of these just naturally from playing the game. But there's one that I highly, highly recommend for new players, and that is going to be Aureus. Aureus you'll get a ton of as you progress through the game, but getting just 1 copy of this very, very early is extremely, extremely powerful because you can just have a knight in the front line and basically stack that knight on full defensive power, and he'll be able to mitigate damage, increase defense as well of your allies, and also mitigate damage for your team by taking that damage for your team. And if you have a good healer on your squad for like PvE content, you can just alleviate a lot of the team damage and put it on your tank, and then you just heal the tank up, right? So yeah, I think this rotation is really good for newer players, right? Because you have Rod of Amaryllis and Aureus. These two are just going to be extremely powerful. If you have both of these on your team, you can pretty much just cruise through the early game of PvE. And even for late game players or mid game players, right? Seductive Flower, very good for Blooming Litica, and Double Edge Crescent, going to be good on some evasion units for PvP. But yeah, nothing too special about this rotation, right? Nothing like super broken except like Rod of Amaryllis. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching, guys. And as always, if you guys want to see more Powder of Knowledge rotation guides, I guess, and some other tier lists in the future, make sure you guys hit that like button to help me out. And I'll see you guys next video.